songs, let me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc, where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
You have to be resilient and you have to stick to it if you really love it and not get discouraged by the first thing that comes your way or like the first rejection or the first disappointment, because there will always be disappointments in life regardless of what career you're following. But if you're really passionate and you understand that it's not about that, but it's about your passion and what truly makes you happy, you find a way to succeed.
All right, this is Craig LeBlanc, host of the Daily Parks and Rec Show, the Leadership Series. The show is 5 days a week, 12 noon Eastern Time. And I have a very special guest with us today, Beatriz Vasquez. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, Vasquez. I have a friend that's named Vasquez, so I'm just rolling with that one, but she'll correct me when she comes up stage. And she is a dancer, professional ballerina. We're going to hear all about her story. And you know how we have all these programs that we run in our Parks and Rec departments. And oftentimes when we think of programming for children, we think of sports. But there's a lot of great Parks and Rec departments that are doing beautiful work in the performing arts and the visual arts. We even had somebody come on talk about how they do STEM programs and pottery. And so Beatriz has dedicated her life to sharing her art form of ballet in the Parks and Rec department, has been doing this for a very long time. So she has a very cool story. So I'm really excited about having her as a guest on today. But first, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the other shows that we have. First of all, big announcement. We are now officially on Spotify by popular demand. Y'all have been demanding this for many months. And so we got the Aquatics Life and On the Front Line and the Leadership Series are starting to upload so that people can listen to us while they're walking or running or driving or something like that. In addition to, you can still find us on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other places. So that's really cool. But let's just run through the shows real quick. So on Mondays, we have, on the second and fourth Mondays, we have the a technology show called, hold on, it's slipping my mind right now. It's called Smart Parks Forward. Sorry, I'm waiting for my coffee to kick in. And so that's with our host, Dave Ramirez, where we talk about all the technology that's coming into Parks and Recreation on the hardware side, where communities can really start to control and manage their infrastructure all through computers and smart devices. So think of your splash pads and lights and all that kind of stuff, all being controlled from a centralized. You can even control it from your phone. Imagine being able to control an entire city from your phone. That might be kind of scary. But you can still control it from a computer where you're actually able to program a lot of your infrastructure. So that's on the second and fourth Monday of every month at 1:30 p.m. And then every Tuesday since January, the first Tuesday in January, John has been helping us he's the host, John Prue, of On the Front Line, the military rec show. And so all of you military veterans or people that are in the military that are doing Parks and Rec activities on base, this is your show for you every Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we work with Henry County, Georgia to produce two shows on the first and the second Wednesday of every month at 1:30 p.m. We start with our first Wednesday of Safe Spaces with Thomas White, where we talk about neurodivergence and mental health in Parks and Recreation, which is such a great topic that we don't really speak about enough. I like to see that a lot of people are talking more about mental health and then how Parks and Rec plays a role in that, especially in early childhood development, all the way to mental health when you're a senior in your community. And Parks and Rec does a great job for that. Okay, so the second Wednesday of every month, we do a show called The Rec Room with Henry County, Georgia, where they pick a topic inside of Parks and Rec and they pull back the curtain and show how the entire department does a special event or does a 5K or does programming. And we just kind of roll through the year picking topics apart, and we get to see all the stakeholders in what it takes to run a Parks and Rec department on a very granular level. All right, so that brings us to our Thursday show, the Youth Sports Mastery Show. It's our oldest running show with our host, very talented host, Aaron Locks. He's also the founder of the National Academy of Athletics and has been involved in youth sports and sports of some type for 40 years and brings on some of the greatest coaches, athletic directors, professional athletes. And so that's every Thursday. And then we have Gabby hosting our Young Professionals Network show every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. So we have 3 shows on Thursday. And then that leads us to our latest edition, The Aquatics Life with host Wesley King. If you're in aquatics, go watch any of the old episodes. I promise someone in your aquatics department is going to get a lot out of it. It's a ton of red meat, lots of information and wisdom on those shows. And so that's every Friday. So that's our lineup. We also produce a couple other shows. The Athletes Commute with Jordan Ziff, where we talk about female athletes, pro athletes, and how they kind of prepare for the game and prepare for practice and live the life of a professional athlete. So that's a really cool show that we also help produce, along with a few others. We also attend your local state convention. So if your Parks and Recreational State Association would like us to attend, we try to attend about 10 to 15 of these a year, where we bring the entire team and all of our equipment, and we set up and we do 30 to 40 live interviews from the convention. And so if you'd like the Daily Parks and Rec Show or DPRS Media Network to attend, hit me up on LinkedIn and we'll see if we can get that scheduled. All right, so let's go ahead and run our 500th episode. Thank you. And then when we come back, we're going to have a great conversation with Beatriz.
It didn't start with a big studio. It didn't start with a massive audience. It started with a simple idea. One conversation, one camera, one episode. Back then, DPRS Media Network was just a vision. No guarantees, no roadmap, just a purpose. To tell stories that mattered. Stories from the Parks and Recreation community. Stories of leadership, passion, impact, and the people making a difference every single day. Episode by episode, that vision began to grow. More conversations, more voices, more people who believed in what we were building. What started as a show became something much bigger. A place where people felt seen, a place where ideas were shared, a place where the Parks and Rec community could connect, learn, and inspire one another. And today, we celebrate a major milestone. 500 episodes. 500 stories, 500 moments, 500 reasons to keep moving forward. But this is not the finish line. This is the beginning of our next chapter. In the months ahead and in the years to come, DPRS Media Network is growing into something even greater. We are building something truly special for the Parks and Recreation community. Something designed to bring people closer, to create stronger connections, to open new opportunities, and to continue serving the people who inspire everything we do. We are also expanding our reach through new partnerships, working with organizations who believe in our mission, partners who share our vision for community, leadership, and impact. And beyond the screen, we're showing up in more places than ever before, attending conferences, meeting leaders face-to-face, building connections that strengthen our community. Because DPRS has never been just about content. It has always been about connection. To everyone who has been with us, from episode 1 to episode 500, thank you. This milestone belongs to all of you. Here's to how it all started. And here's to everything still to come. The future of DPRS Media Network starts now.
All right, so we're back. This is Craig LeBlanc, the Daily Parks and Rec Show leadership series. Let's see if we can get Beatrice back online. I think we lost her video feed for a second. There she is. Oh, you got yourself muted.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to be here today.
Yeah, well, glad to have you on. I'm so excited to talk about how you've kind of mixed your passion involved in Parks and Rec and are able to expose so many young kids to
Mhm.
probably in many communities they would never have access to someone like yourself or programs like yourself. So maybe let's just start with kind of your backstory. How did you get involved in Parks and Recreation, and then and maybe even how did you get involved in ballet?
Well, I got involved in ballet when I was very young. I was about 3 years old, and my mother noticed that I didn't crawl like normal kids on four limbs or like arms and legs, but I always wanted to sit in what we call butterfly position or lotus position.
Mhm.
And she took me to the pediatrician, and he suggested that I should be enrolled in dance classes. So my mom decided to send me to a school in Colombia that specialized in the arts. So it was a big school that had an academic program, but it also had a performing arts program side by side. And that's how I began my first lessons in dance. And then from there it progressed as I got older, and I was exposed to like folkloric dance and jazz and modern and ballet and everything. I, at around 9 years of age, I decided that my thing was ballet, and that's what I really love to dance. I love the discipline, the like just the structure of it because it was so structured and specialized, and the classical music. And so my mom and my dad decided to enroll me in a ballet school, and then it went from there. And so when my parents decided to move to the United States, I started, they started looking for classes, but like every immigrant story, what we could afford back home in South America, we couldn't do it here. My parents just could
Mm.
not continue paying for those classes. And so I found a recreation center in Burbank, California, and they offer ballet classes. And I was able to continue at the recreation center in Burbank. And from there, the teacher guided me to look for dance studios where I could go take classes. And I returned to the dance studio. Then I was able to get my classes and do work study, working a few hours at the studio in exchange for classes. And then by then, my mom we had already been here for a few years. So by then, it was not such a struggle as it had been during the first years. So my mom was able to start paying for more and more classes. And it was like, oh my God, it's as much as a car payment
Yes, it
every
is.
month, because at the dance studios, classes are charged per class. And then if a child or teenager wants to learn more and move through the advanced professional levels, now you get a little bit of a discount, but not much. So then at the end of the day, you're paying a whole bunch of money for those classes. I know,
Mhm.
but I did it, and then I ended up going to New York to the Joffrey Ballet School. I came back to Los Angeles. I danced in local companies, and then it just from there, one thing led to another, and here I am, a professional dancer, choreographer, working with theater companies, working on film, on music videos, teaching privately as well, teaching for arts organizations, and then of course for recreation and parks here in Los
Mm.
Angeles.
Maybe describe how that helped in your early childhood development as far as your motor skills, your community. Like what are the benefits of having dance and ballet as part of a child's early experience?
Oh my God, it's just amazing. Everything, it just helps you in everything because children are building, their motor skills, their cognitive skills, memory. So by being part of a dance class, you have to add all these elements that are so specific and so specialized. Like n- every discipline has its amazing positive points to it. So in the case of dance and ballet, not only do you have to be strong and flexible and have great memory to remember combinations, choreography, but then you also have to be graceful. You have to understand what you're doing in the dance. You have to do a little bit of acting. You have to know what character you're playing. If you're playing, let's say, the cowboy or the princess or the evil witch or whatever, you know, character is portrayed in your story. So it helps children with their imagination, but it goes beyond. And then, of course, ballet is heavily infused with mathematical concepts. So a lot of times people are like, "Oh, my child is not doing so good in math. I think we're gonna take them, off from ballet." And I'm always like, "No, no, no, that is the wrong thing, because through ballet they're learning math from a more instinctive place where they're learning the counts and the body's feeling like the 8 8 4 4 2 2 single 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 single, when they do ballet combinations. And that's fractions right there. So when I talk to my kids, I'm like, when I'm teaching them, I'm like lines, circles, this, the timing, the repetition. And it's so beneficial in so many layers people don't even understand.
Mm. And so outside of the practice, what else does a child experience? So a lot of times you have like the regular class, and then all of a sudden you have, I guess, like you're going to perform before an
Yes.
audience. So let's talk about more of the performance side. What does that look like for a child?
For a child, well, they first of all, they love it because it's like, in my case, I'm always creating stories. So I'm using like the Very Hungry Caterpillar or Alice in Wonderland and things like that. And I bring them to the stage and then I adapt it for them. And then so right there, they know the story, they understand what the ballet or the choreography is about. And then after that, it's all about teamwork, to the point that if somebody's not feeling so good, they still have to show up because everybody else depends on them. So it's
Mm.
sort of like it's a partnership. And so they're learning about camaraderie, understanding that they're not going to get the role they wanted just because they wanted it. They have to earn it depending on how committed, how disciplined, how advanced they are. They understand, hierarchy, like, oh, so and so got that role because she's been dancing a lot longer than me and she really puts in the effort and she's been working really hard. And then that inspires them to do the same thing and not want to miss class. And I get texts from the parents asking me sometimes, "Oh, Miss B, my daughter is sick, but she's so worried. She still wants to come to class. Should I bring her?" If it's not contagious, I say yes, bring her, and she can sit and watch if she's not feeling good. Of course, if it's contagious, I'm like, please stay home because we don't want to get sick
Yeah.
right before a show.
Now let's talk about the culture. What was the dance culture like in Colombia? And then what have you seen here in the States?
Oh my God. Well, I think it's so different because the arts are such a big part of Latin American culture, starting with folkloric dance. And
Mm.
then I don't know how they manage to do all these amazing art festivals where people can just sit and watch at the main plaza. Amazing theatrical productions, puppet shows, ballets, free of charge. So you have all different social groups exposed to the arts, regardless of their income. So
Mm.
nobody has to spend $100 for a ticket to go watch a dance company because they're coming to the plaza, they set up the stages, and even the ice cream man is standing there with his ice cream little cart and the sugar things, looking at something he may not even understand. But then if his daughter comes and tells him she wants to do ballet, for them it's like second nature, just because they have
Mm.
been exposed. In the United States, it's a little bit restrictive. And so we have to find those programs that are offered to kids and teens and senior citizens where they can have access to the arts for free. Otherwise,
Mm.
when they go to the music center, a ticket easily is $75 to 100. And then you have a family of four. I mean, you do the math and you wonder how many families can afford to go see a show for $500.
Mm. Yeah. Now,
So it's very different. Yes.
what do you see as the major stumbling block for Parks and Recreation adding something like what you do to their programming?
What, like stumbling block, like
Like,
like an
so
like an obstacle?
yeah, like an obstacle.
Well, I think, well, talking from my own personal experience, when I got into recreational parks here in California, I remember seeing all kinds of. First of all, there was not a lot of dance. They had dance, but not as much. And then you have levels of instructors.
Mhm.
So I think one of the main things is because there's no quality control when it comes to these subject matters.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have instructors that are not really well prepared to impart a dance class, and it's just because they think it's fun or they have a basic idea of it, they try to go and teach it, and sometimes instead of being an advantage, it can be a disadvantage because it turns people away.
Mm. I see.
So when I have come, for example, to different when I have gone to a different site, then people come up to me and parents tell me, oh my god, the last teacher was so different. All they did was like play and jump around, and your class has so much structure. And I'm just going like, well, where I come from, all the classes had structure, the
Yeah.
discipline, the rigidity. So for me it's like completely foreign, but I see also there's a need for that, because a lot of times, you know, they need to expose the community to these art forms, and it's hard.
Mm. Now tell us about you. You said you went to a school in New York. What was the name of that school?
The
And tell us
Joffrey
about it.
Ballet School, the Joffrey Ballet School in New
Wow.
York. Yeah, it
Is that
was.
a very famous one?
It's a very famous one. Yes, it's a
Yeah.
very famous school. My mom flew with me, and then we had to find a friend of a friend of a friend that lived in New York, so I could stay with her, and I stayed there, and I was dancing from 9 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m. in the afternoon. It
Wow.
was like 1 hour and a half. Classes are usually structured 1 hour and a half, so it was 1 hour and a half of a class, 1 hour and a half of the other class, then a break, and then again and again, and then lunch, and then again until you got out of 5. Yeah.
Wow. So what was that how long did that last, and what was that experience
It
like?
was it was it was several months, and it was an amazing experience because it exposed me to a variety of in New York, a variety of dancers, international students coming from all over the world to take classes at the Joffrey, and different styles too, because in ballet there's different, just like I'm assuming soccer, right? Like you have European style of soccer and Brazilian soccer, and like everybody has their own qualities and and like strengths, or you're right, more aerial, more footwork. So
Mhm.
the same thing in ballet, like being exposed to different styles and different ballet schools, children and teens that were coming from different backgrounds, from like the European school, from the Russian schools, from the South American. Since we had moved to the United States, my background was more American style.
Mm.
Yes.
Now, um, just because you're a great athlete and let's say you can score a lot, that doesn't necessarily make you a good coach. So
Exactly.
how did you transition from being the performer on stage to the teacher that's, showing young children how to do your art form?
It was I think it has been through the years. It's a combination of things. First of all, I do believe that you have to be born with that gift to to connect to others. And so I come from a family of teachers. A lot of my, especially from like my oldest family members, I'm talking about like my great grandmothers and my grandmothers and my grand aunts. They were all teachers back in South America.
Mhm.
And so I think that kind of comes with you, where you want to help and you connect with people. You're strict, but you're also sweet and kind, and so that makes people feel comfortable and want to come back to your classes.
Mhm.
And then of course there's the academic part of it, or mastering your subject. And I think the fact that I'm so passionate about what I do, and it has been, I never had plan B. I
Mhm.
never had plan B. Like people have plan A, plan B, and if this doesn't work out, whatever. I didn't. Like dance was it, and I knew it was my thing, and I didn't like anything else. I did like to read, and I like to educate myself, but dance is my thing, and the human body and movement and all of that. So I think that passion translates onto my teaching,
Mhm.
and the fact that it's almost like when you're a dance student, you're surrounded by so many teachers, and you're being taught every single day And it's almost like you start absorbing all these things and methodologies, and you start discerning for yourself what worked and what didn't. And like throughout my life, it was like, I mean, when you're living through the moment, you don't see it, but as you get older, you look back and you're like, oh my God, that teacher had such an impact on me. I wonder why. And then you start thinking about, oh, because they did A, B, C, and D, or the way they spoke to the students, the way they presented the class. So you start kind of like implementing things that I think I'm a combination of all my mentors and teachers that pour so much into me. And I'm a big believer in mentors. Like right now, when my kids come to see me perform, the first thing I do after the show, I introduce them to my mentors, my choreographers, whoever helped me with that. So my kids, my students, know that I'm still training, that I'm not just teaching them and then I go home and I sit in front of the couch. But Miss B is also constantly training and looking for more and more. Plus, we're working with the human body, and that evolves all the time. There's new discoveries about movement, mobility, the benefits on your brain. So you just have to love so much the subject to just really be into it and be discovering, oh, what did they find out now? Dance is great for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and it almost reverses the effects of it. So little things like that.
Yeah. Now, are there associations or schools that teach teachers? So let's say you're a former ballet dancer, but now
Oh,
you want
yes,
teaching.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So there are, and that's one of the things. Like I'm always getting myself educated and certified in different modalities so that I keep my knowledge fresh as well, because everything evolves with time. You know
Mm,
what I mean? There's new discoveries, new ways of working the body. So being on top of your game and getting new knowledge and new training is so important. So
mm,
I do that as well.
yeah. Is there like a Ballet Association of America that meets once a year where everybody kind of comes together, kind of where you can meet
There
new
is,
people?
there is. You have different schools, like you have American Ballet Theater is one of the biggest companies in the United States, and they certify teachers to teach in the
Mm,
American Ballet Theater style. And then there is, the every school, every big school offers. The National Dance Association also is constantly offering online classes, online courses. Here in California, we have a wonderful company called Sugar Food Therapy, which is more from the rehabilitating side of things. So, how to train the body before it even gets injured. What are
mhm,
the requirements of dance? And what do you need to do in order to fulfill those requirements and not tear a muscle or sprain an ankle?
mm.
So,
And let's
yeah,
say
there's a lot.
let's say somebody wanted to kind of follow in your footsteps. What would be kind of some first steps? Let's say you have someone that really loved ballet and they want to find a way to do this as a job and do this full time. What kind of advice would you give them?
Oh my God. I mean, first of all, you have to be resilient and you have to stick to it if you really love it and not get discouraged by the first thing that comes your way, or like the first rejection or the first disappointment, because there will always be disappointments in life, regardless of what career you're following. But if you're really passionate and you understand that it's not about that, but it's about your passion and what truly makes you happy, you find a way to succeed.
Mm. Now, have you had any students come up and go on to either dance at theater or go to school or maybe even teach like yourself?
Oh my God, I've had so many. I've had many students throughout the years be accepted into the magnet for the performing arts here in Los Angeles, which is very difficult because we have the most prestigious school called LAXA. So I've had students go to LAXA, LA County, for the performing arts high school. I've had students get accepted at, for example, I have one of my students who happens to be a boy, and he's attending Cal State Long Beach as a theater and dance major right now. Um, and then all my students that went to the Hollywood High School for the Performing Arts, where a lot of main celebrities attended back in the 70s and 60s. And all of these programs are by audition only. So it's not like if you want to get into it, you get into it. The kids literally have to go and present an audition. And I'm so proud to say that my students have been able to pass the auditions. and get accepted into these programs. And that's another reason why my classes have become so big and so popular, because of that. They have a chance to go the professional way if they want to. They are prepared for it. And throughout the years, I've had students that have gone on to teach. I have one former student of mine who started teaching some of the pre-ballet classes, and then eventually she transferred out of recreation and parks, and she moved on to the YMCA, and now she's a coordinator at the YMCA. I have another student that was teaching for a while, and now she works for LA County. She decided to go into a business major, and she graduated as a business major, so now she does business for LA County, but she was teaching for several years.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so we got to our halfway point of the show. So we're going to take a quick break to talk about two of our sponsors for the show. So Outdoor Link works inside the Parks and Rec industry. They're one of those companies that helps you become a smart city. And so if you'd like to be able to connect all of your devices, whether it's like a parking lot light or baseball field lights or splash pads or bathroom door locks, they have this very cost-efficient device that to where you can control everything through your computers, through your laptops. And so that way you can really manage your entire infrastructure much more efficiently. And with that increased efficiency, you can put more money into your ballet program because you're not spending as much money on turning your lights off and on. And so they're a really good company and been with us really since the beginning. And then also the National Academy of Athletics, they really focus on how important rec sports are, not just to the athletic kids that might get a college scholarship, but to children that may not be the most athletic children. And they talk a lot about how it's still super important, even if you're a future ballet dancer or a cellist or an engineer, that youth sports is still so beneficial to a child in their early days. And so both of those companies actually also help us produce two of the shows. So the Thursday show on youth sports, and then the Smart Parks Forward on technology. Outdoor Link also helps us produce those. So Jovi, why don't you go ahead and play those two promos for those two great companies, and then we'll come back and finish up our conversation with Beatriz.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec, it's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs, we're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about, it seems like in ballet, it's mostly dominated by females.
Mhm.
How do we get more young boys involved? And did you get more young boys involved in Colombia and maybe not so much here in the States? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I think our culture here um, is not so supportive of boys in ballet. It
Mhm.
seems that maybe because we have such a strong folklorical cultures back in Latin America or Europe,
Mhm.
boys seem to be more involved because there's like the typical male role from those folkloric dances from the past. And so through folkloric, it seems that through folkloric dance, whether it's in Europe or in South America, boys have a way to get into ballet. And once they're doing folkloric dance and they're doing, let's say, cumbia or samba or mambo, then oh wow, I need more technique, I need more preparation for to be a dancer. And then they kind of go into ballet. Here we don't have that, right? So uh, a lot of boys do go into, let's say, hip hop and break dance, but it's very minimum, even in that world for classes. Um, Predominantly girls are the ones that are taking those classes as well. So I think we just need to expose people to more dance, and I think it helps to have boys in your class. Like in my case, because I've had boys in my class, I've had other boys come and join the class because they have seen the older boys in the class.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you don't have that, then you don't have like a figure that the boys can look up to.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a cheerleader in high school, and a childhood friend of mine, we were friends since kindergarten, Kathleen Wilkinson, she recruited me because they didn't have any
Yeah,
boys, and her
yeah,
and, like, 2 or 3 other girls just went on a recruiting spree 'cause they wanted to go compete at nationals, and they couldn't do it without a
yeah.
team of
Without,
boys,
of
so
course, of course.
yeah.
But it's still hard if anywhere you go, you see like there's always a lot of women dancing, and then there's a few males in the company or in
Yeah.
the, in the performances that you watch.
Yeah. But as a result, I was able to get a full scholarship to the University of Kentucky, and that's
There
how
you
I
go.
made my way through college because, they needed male cheerleaders, and they're one of the best squads in the country,
That's
and so
amazing.
and I'm sure similar to ballet, if you're a male ballet dancer, you could probably get a scholarship, to
Oh,
a lot of
there's so
universities.
much for them. There's so much for girls. It's so competitive, but for males, sometimes it's even given to them as long as they join.
Right. If
Yeah,
they just show up.
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, when we had spoke before, you had mentioned about how you had given talks at Parks and Rec, or maybe tell us about what some of your when you're on stage
Mhm.
presenting, what you do. What are some of the talks that you've given?
I've talked about inspiration, and
Mhm.
I've talked about one was about inspiration. I remember very clearly how to find the inspiration to do what you do, and
Mhm.
also how to inspire others to do what they aspire to do or what they wish they could do. And my other talk was about just staying the course and finding the strength to do what you want to do within
Mhm.
recreation and parks. And like my story is such an unusual story, right? But I found my way in it. So
Right.
I'm such an example of that. Like I love dance and performance, and I was able to mix the two worlds. Like I have two lives, right? My life outside of recreation and parks, and then my other artistic life with TV and videos and movies and all those things.
Mm. And so how did you find your inspiration early on, and who were the people that inspired you?
Oh my gosh. Wow, what a great question. I think, well, my inspiration, since I was little, it was like my passion to do dance and to do ballet, and the fact that nobody told me no, right?
Mm.
Like I had this journey, and my mom was like, "Oh wow, okay." And when I said I want to do ballet, okay. let's figure it out. And then when we moved to the United States, okay, how can we continue making this possible for her? So it
Mhm.
was like my parents had a big impact on that. Like they never said, no, you're crazy, or like, oh my God, why would you choose that subject? Choose something else, but not dance. I never had that.
Mhm.
So a lot of times people get limited from early on because somebody, when they were really young, thought they were crazy for wanting to do something,
Mhm.
right? Be an
Yeah.
astronaut, be a firefighter, be a pilot. So in my case, I didn't have that, so I was able to pursue it. And because it was really what I wanted, coming from the innocence of a child that really knew what she wanted to do. And they allow me to, and that only brought more inspiration into my life because I was in the environment that I wanted to be, surrounded by the people I wanted to be. I wanted to be next to me. And then from then on, it was just the arrival of the teachers, the mentors, the shows that just continue giving me more. And
Mm.
that's what I try to tell the parents nowadays is like, if your child is saying that they want to do something, give them a chance, because you don't know where that's going to take them. And
Mm.
I've had also kids that have come to me and ballet is not their thing. And I've had to have the talk with the mom and say, listen, your child is not really enjoying the class. I know you want her to, but she's not. Why don't you ask her what she really wants? And then I see them like maybe a few months later somewhere, and then oh my God, Miss B, thank you so much. It turns out she's into like media technology and videos, and now she's editing her own little videos, and she's doing little projects. And then they found like maybe a school, or through their school they're doing like something for filmmaking for like 12-year-olds. And then I see my student thriving because she's doing what she really wanted to do.
Mhm. Now, when did you notice that you made the shift from being inspired to you inspiring people? At what age did that kind of, did you encounter that? And then what is that journey like throughout your whole, arc of your career
Oh
here?
my God. When did I encounter that? I think it was several years after I was teaching,
Mhm.
when I had long hair and I cut it like I have it right now. And the next week, all my girls had the same haircut.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I realized what an important job I had and what a huge responsibility that was, especially
Mhm.
because I teach so many kids. So it's not like I have a class of just five, it's so many. And I
Mhm.
said to myself, wow, like what I do, like they're watching everything that I do. So I'm super careful what I post on social media, how I portray myself, because what I do is having such a big impact on them. And I think people sometimes forget that we are all impacting each other, and
Mhm.
that what you do affects other people, whether you know it or not. You affect other people. So if
Mhm.
you're aware of your actions, and if you're aware of how you carry yourself, and if you're aware. So I noticed that it was as simple as that. When I cut my hair, that's when I realized it. And then from then on, I'm like, okay, now I see what, like, the impact that I'm having on these children. And it's been like that now for many, many years. And I try to bring them over to all the shows that I do, and to all the performances that I'm part of. When I do music videos, I'm very choosy of the music videos that I do when I work with people, because I have all these kids behind me,
Mhm.
like growing up. So I want them to have a great example
Yeah.
to
Now
follow.
now tell me more. So when did you get into, um, like, video creation and music videos and film and stuff like that? When did that start for you?
It just came naturally. I was choreographing and I was performing, and people like what I choreograph. So I was approached by one singer, and he asked me if I could choreograph his music video, and I did that. And then it's kind of like, when once you stay in your field and you're putting work out there, the word gets around. And if people like what you're doing, then they come to you. And one video next led to another video, and here I am. It's like
Mm.
it's been by word of mouth. It's funny because people are always asking me, "Do you have an agent?" And I don't, because
Uh,
I'm lucky because everything is word of mouth. I work with somebody, and then next thing I know, somebody calls me or sends me a message. Hey, I saw your work on this film or on this video. Do you think you could do my project? And then depending on what it is, I accept or not. Yes.
Yeah. And so what's your creative process? So let's say somebody has a song that they'd like you to choreograph for. How do you kind of take it back into your little workshop and start to build out the dance part of that?
I just I listened to the song 100 times over and over again, and of course, I always have to find out what the concept is because maybe I'm thinking of something, but the creator of the song or the video wants a different idea. So then there's always that communication between the two of us on, okay, what are you envisioning? What's the feel of it? What do you want to transmit to the audience? What are you trying to tell? What would you like the movement to be? And so they give me guidelines to work with, and so I play within those guidelines that they give me.
Mm.
Because
Are
a
there
lot
any
of times, music videos and when I work as a choreographer or in music videos or on film, I have to work with what the producer and the director are telling me. Like they give me all these guidelines to stay within. I can't just be like, that's why it's great to produce your own work. So when I don't want to be told what to do and I want to have full creativity of it, then that's when I have to be my own producer because then I'm producing and I'm also directing and choreographing. So there I have the whole say.
Yes. Do you have like a dream project that you would like to work on or that maybe you have worked on as an example?
My dream project, I would love to choreograph for opera companies.
Mm.
Yeah, because I love working with actors, and that's some of the things that I've been doing in the last years, working with theater companies, and I love the process. It's different from working with only dancers because
Mhm.
there's like you can do so much more with the voice and with other things, right? So now my next thing will be to work with opera companies because I love classical music, and so
Right.
that's my big thing.
Yeah. So tell me about your relationship with Parks and Recreation. Well, when you first came to Columbia, you found a Parks and Rec department that actually offered ballet
Ballet,
dancing.
yes, in
Um,
Burbank, California, correct.
and then so then how did you find your Parks and Rec department that you chose to work with, and why did you choose to work with them?
It was interesting. So once I left the Burbank Recreation department, I mean, I was there as a student. I was a kid when I was taking classes at the Burbank Recreation Center. And so then I went on to the studios and to the Joffrey Ballet, and I was dancing professionally and I was doing shows and you name it. I had a friend of mine who was teaching at a rec center. And Los Angeles is such a huge city. I
Mhm.
mean, from one end to the other one, it is if people that are not from LA, they will be in for a surprise when they
Mhm.
come because it's huge. So this friend of mine was going on vacation and she said, hey, I need a substitute teacher and my kids. And this was also like a really good dancer she used to dance with the Cuban ballet.
Mm.
So for those people that know about dance, they'll understand what that means because she was a dancer from the Cuban ballet. So she really wanted a substitute that was great. And she was going to be away for I think maybe a month. And so she said, could you teach for me? And I said, yes. At that time, uh, Parks and Rec or Recreation and Parks here didn't require substitutes to be fingerprinted or to be part of their system. If an instructor was going to be away, they could just call any substitute or
Mhm.
friend, and that's how it was. So I wasn't even employed by the city. I hope I
Mhm.
don't get in trouble. But this was a long time ago. This was a long time ago. So my friend left and I started teaching her classes, and it was really far away from me. I didn't realize that it was like 45 minutes to an hour commute going back and forth. But I did it and I enjoyed it. There was something about it that I really liked. I think it felt very community like the kids, the parents. There was a warmth to it that sometimes at dance studios, sometimes not everybody, but sometimes dance studios can be very cold. And so I loved it and I forgot about it. And time went by and I was still doing my shows and dancing. And then that same friend said, you did so good. Why don't you work for Parks and Recreation? And I'm like, well, I haven't really thought about it. She's like, you should just call your local one and find out if they need a ballet instructor. So I live in Hollywood. I called my local recreation center at the time, and I asked if they needed a ballet instructor, and it turns out that they did. Their previous teacher had left, and they were in need of one. And so I went. I filled out the application, did my fingerprints, and I started teaching. I started teaching one class a week, and I remember it was great. I will always be grateful to Gail Okazaki. She was the director at the time. And she gave me the talk and she said, Beatriz, we're so happy to have you, but let me tell you how things are done. You need to make sure that the class has at least this amount of kids. We're going to give you 6 months. If the class doesn't build up, then you will still be part of the city, but we cannot give you hours here. You will have to find another location. So I'm like, fair enough. So I started teaching the classes. I remember I started with one kid, and I still remember her name to this day, Abigail Ojeda. And yeah, it was so sweet. And that one child ended up bringing two, and then those two ended up bringing more. And by the end of like the 2 months, I needed to open a second class because the class was so big. So then I had to tell Gail, we need to open another class because I can't be teaching this many kids. So she goes, okay. And we opened the second class. That second class, same story, huge. We had to open another class. And then they didn't have space for me anymore because the other afternoons were taken by other programming, like basketball or this, or, So I went to a different rec center to see if they had available time in their classroom or gymnasium, and they did. And so then I went there and I started teaching there more. And then kids started following me from one rec center to the other, the ones that wanted to dance more. And that's how everything just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Wow. What a great story. And,
yeah.
And so tell us more about what it's like to teach the kids that couldn't afford to be in your class if it was not offered through your Parks and Rec department.
Oh my God. That has been the biggest reward of my life, I have to say, because I know that these kids will not be exposed to this art form and to this music and to what I give them if it wasn't because of the affordability of the classes. There's no way. And there's also like a certain fear, right? I think when people don't feel confident or they feel like they're not part of that world, for them to go into a dance studio where people might be a little bit more dressed up, a little bit more from a different background, there's fear in that, right? There's fear of rejection, of being looked at like, oh, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. And through Parks and Rec, everybody belongs there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so I love the fact that I have been able to reach a wide variety of social economic backgrounds. And I love that my kids get to mingle with all different kinds of kids from different backgrounds, from different ethnicities, from different nationalities, and that they all manage to get along and understand their differences and celebrate each other. I love that. It's just, and then we all have this common love for the art and for ballet and for classical music. And then they understand it and they're going home. And I've had parents tell me, teacher, I don't really understand that song and that music my kid tells me to play, but okay, fine. She's having such a good time. Like when we do nutcrackers and things like that, they tell their parents that they need to listen to their song that they're dancing to, and and the parents have to listen to it, even if they have never been exposed to classical music. And that's what I love about Parks and Rec, that I have been able to reach those people.
Now, are you familiar with CPRS or NRPA?
Yes, I'm familiar. Yes.
And have you spoken at NRPA before, the National Parks and Rec Association?
No, not at all.
Oh, I'm going to have to sign you up.
Sign me up. I will be so excited. I can also give a yoga session, my seniors. So I teach seniors as well, not just kids. Yeah. And so my seniors love my yoga classes.
Oh, I discovered yoga about a year ago, and now I go probably 4 days a week, at
Yes,
7 o'clock.
it's
And it has
amazing.
completely changed my life. I feel like I have use of my body now.
Yeah. Plus the connection to the breath, the connection to yourself, the calmness, right?
Mm, yeah,
It's all the benefits of it. Yeah.
yeah. And so what have you done with CPRS? Have you just been one of their speakers?
No, I mean, I'm familiar with them in the sense that
Mhm.
I follow them and like I was invited to write an article. I was so bad. And they sent me all the links so that I could write an article and I haven't been able to do it because I have been so busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll have to connect you with Stephanie. She's the executive director there. We just got back from theirs. It was in Long Beach, California, and
Oh,
they did
nice.
they had, maybe a couple thousand Parks and Rec
Nice.
professionals there, and California does a great job,
They
but then
do.
also NRPA does that as well. I would love to try to help get you, a speaking engagement there
Oh,
because
thank you so much.
yeah, I think if people just knew your story, it's almost like if they look at you from a distance, they're like, "I can't do that. It's too hard. I don't she's a miracle. I don't know how she does it." But after talking to you, it's I could easily see how other people that are passionate about ballet, and if they partner with Parks and Rec, could do something very similar in their cities.
Exactly, exactly. Yes. Or it doesn't even, in any subject, like people have a tendencies like that's what I have discovered throughout the years. When you talk to friends and people you meet that are not doing what they really wanted to do, which it makes me so sad because there was nobody to guide them or to like tell them stay the course, believe in yourself, you can do it. There's so many ways to do it. Like I knew my thing was dance, ballet, movement, and I stayed the course, and I'm so glad I did because there's so many sides to a career and there's so many sides to that one subject that you're passionate about it, right? So right now I don't dance in a ballet company anymore, but I'm doing other things that are just as gratifying, like choreographing for a film, choreographing for theater, choreographing for this, performing with my students at Lotus Festival here in Los Angeles. So there's so many things where people just limit themselves thinking of like, one thing, but within your field, think of all the branches and possibilities that you have in your field. Where could you take that? How many things could you do within your subject matter that you're passionate about?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think, I'll make a prediction here that, with all the advancements of AI and robotics, I think they're going to start taking a lot of different, they're gonna be able to do a lot of things very efficiently for us, so, but I think one of the industries that's going to thrive in that environment is stuff like you're doing, where it's about quality of life, it's about learning about your body, about
Yeah,
learning, movement. I think those industries are gonna explode a lot like we've seen how yoga has just
yeah,
exploded almost
yeah,
overnight.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
because we it seems like we all, no matter what, whether robots are doing everything for us or not, we still have this human body that we need to learn how to be with.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe speak about that. What has ballet done for you as a person as far as how does it, um, change your daily life, or how does it benefit your daily life?
Wow. First of all, starting with the music, being exposed to beautiful music is just people don't realize that you need to go on a diet also, auditive through your ears. We're
Mm,
surrounded by so much noise and by so much just like junk food, if you want to say like junk music, right? So you need a detox from it, and what better thing to do than to be exposed to beautiful classical music.
mm,
Starting just with that immediately creates a different sense in your body. It makes you feel different because it's done at a different frequency, those people that are into sound bath and other things. And then is the discipline, the repetitive aspect of the practice of going and finding the intricacies. Ballet is very specialized and very intricate, and you could be doing one thing over and over again, but you're trying to perfect it, find more range of motion, find more engagement of your core. Be prepared for, like the combinations in the middle of the floor when you leave the bar. So ballet does all these things. It's kind of like yoga, but from a different perspective. So it sets you up, it sets your body up, it realigns your body, it teaches you about posture and strength and flexibility. And yeah, it's an amazing practice just as well.
Mm. All right. So as we kind of come to the end of our show, what would you like to do from here? Where do you see yourself, or is there like some big vision that you have for yourself or for ballet in general in the future?
Oh my goodness. One thing that I'm super interested, because I do teach at a senior center and I have seen the benefits of sound. I'm interested in combining my yoga practice with sound bath therapy. Is
Mhm.
something that I'm looking into for the future, where I can have sound baths with the yoga practice. um, because it just changes you at a frequency level. Our cells move at a certain frequency, sound moves at a certain frequency, and then there are frequencies that are actually healing for your body, and frequencies that can actually damage your cellular
Mhm.
structure. So that I'm super interested. I started reading. I've been reading a lot about that, and I took an introductory course about it. So that's the next thing that I want to incorporate into my teaching and into my practice, and just do what doing, because I love to do what I do, teach my classes and do all the shows that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you've inspired me to take that sound bath. So when I go to the yoga studio, I see all the posters about sound baths, and I've never done that yet. So
Oh
I
wow, you need to do it. You need to do it. I know it sounds like it sounds like it's not a big deal, or it sounds like, oh my god, that's kind of like too out there. But then once you get into it and you start reading about it and you see all the medical journals that talk about how they're combining, especially in Europe, how they're combining sound bath therapy for treatments of cancer, and
Mhm.
what it's doing at the cellular level, that doctors are starting to document, you start saying, wow, this is an amazing science that need to be studied.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well,
So
Beatrice, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If ever you wanna come back, or you wanna do a show, or you have an idea of how because we have, a huge audience of Parks and Rec professionals that I would love to get your message in front of. So hopefully we're gonna get this
thank you
show out
so
to as many
much.
people
Thank
as
you so
possible.
much. I have to say hello to my colleagues here in California, and especially the places that I'm currently teaching. Can I mention them?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so of course, Lemon Grove Recreation Center, Las Palmas Senior Center, and my beloved Poinsettia Recreation Center, where I teach. Most of my classes happen at Poinsettia Recreation Center, in the heart of Hollywood, almost borderline with West Hollywood. And it's
Mm,
an amazing, amazing facility, rec center, with amazing coaches for sports, for volleyball. They laugh because now that I met their coaches, I'm like, oh my God, it makes me want to do volleyball, but I'm
yeah.
an adult. Will they accept me?
Yeah, yeah. Who's your director there?
We have a new director. His name is Adrian.
Uh-huh,
And we've had a staple of the community that has been there for many, many years. Her name is Miss Williams. And Miss Williams, I believe, has been at Poinsettia Recreation Center for over 20 years.
uh-huh.
And she has seen generation after generation grow up at Poinsettia Rec Center, and is a lovely, lovely facility. I mean,
Yeah,
the professionalism and the way everybody treats each other, the way they treat the families, and the way they carry all their programs there are incredible. From their summer camp to their winter camps to their volleyball, they have an amazing basketball coach. I mean, it's really that good. Look it up, Poinsettia Rec Center.
yeah, well, I'll have to reach out to them. Jovi, if you wanna write their name down, and that, you said is how do you say that again?
Poinsettia, like the Christmas plant,
Oh,
Poinsettia,
yeah, Poinsettia.
Poinsettia
Poinsettia
Recreation
Recreation
Center.
Center.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to reach out to them and see if we can get them on the show to see so we can learn more about how to replicate what y'all are doing over there.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're a big family. A lot of the rec assistants have been working at that particular site also for over 15 years. So it's like they understand what customer service, community, and great programming is for the community. They truly have like mastered it.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for all that you do and being an inspiration to all of us. And
Thank you
I'm
so
sure
much.
hopefully we can have many more people like yourself in Parks and Rec sharing their passion for the art form.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, well, great having you on the show. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Beatrice. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Wow, that was a great show. I'm just blown away by the stuff that Parks and Rec departments bring into their communities, and it's just kind of normal for them. It reminds me of when I think it was Michael that came on the show and talked about the STEM program that they had, and nobody had done it. And I think that's kind of where Beatrice came from, is like, just because nobody has done it doesn't mean it's not something that we should do. And it takes these early pioneers that are just willing to just start. And then, like you said, it just kind of spreads through word of mouth, and your community wants it. And then next thing you know, it's thriving. And then hopefully we can discover someone like Beatrice that has done it. And then we can say, okay, what's the playbook? Let's see if we can get this going in our community. And so that's, I guess, the main purpose of the Daily Parks and Rec show is just to highlight what is working well throughout the entire country. And then finding the people that have had the courage to just start and to build. And then hopefully they can get us that blaze that first trail. And then we can just share how they did it, and then bring that into every community in America. And so my hat's off to all those Parks and Rec professionals and program developers for bringing in not just youth sports, which is also very important, but also the performing arts, the visual arts, STEM programs. This is happening really throughout the country in pockets. And so our goal is to just try to help spread that to every community in America. And really, you just need to find someone that has a passion for something that they do, like Beatrice, and then just to give them the space in your community center and just start the first program and just go from there. And so just know that if you're doing this and you're thinking about this, you're not alone. I promise you there is somebody in America that is doing an outstanding job like Beatrice, whether it be in STEM or performing arts or any other type of program. And it's not just for kids. I love how she brings this into the seniors, and then even stuff for high school and college kids and families. There's a Park and Rec professional that's doing an outstanding job in something that you might be scared to start. And so reach out to us, and we'll try to help you connect you with somebody that's already doing it and kind of can show you the ropes and show you the roadmap. And so Beatrice, keep up the great work. You're an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And we will see y'all here again tomorrow. This is Craig LeBlanc signing off with the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Love you guys, and thank y'all for all the love and support y'all have given us. And we'll promise we're going to keep going. Thanks a lot, guys. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.
It started with a shared purpose, a vision to bring people together, to inspire, to learn, and to lead. And at CPRS Conference 2026, that vision came to life. From every conversation to every connection made, this wasn't just an event, it was a community in motion. Ideas were challenged, perspectives were expanded, and leaders stepped forward, ready to shape the future of parks and recreation. At DPRS Media Network, we had the privilege of capturing it all: the passion, the innovation, the stories that deserve to be seen and heard. Because these moments don't just stay here, they ripple outward, into communities, into programs, into lives. To the organizers, the speakers, the partners, and every single attendee, thank you. For showing up, for sharing your voice, and for being part of something bigger than all of us. This is more than a conference. This is a movement. And DPRS Media Network will continue to tell your story every step of the way. We'll see you at the next one. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.